In the remote southwest corner of Idaho lies the Owyhee River. This vast area of the Owyhee Plateau represents one of the largest drainage basins for the mighty Snake and Columbia rivers. In early May, a group of intrepid Idaho outdoor adventurers make a strategic base camp on the rocky rim poised above our put-in.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Laden packs are precariously hoisted onto fresh backs as we plunge into the deep gorge carved by the river. Declared a wild and scenic river in 2009, this region tells a dramatic and relatively recent geological story. Massive basaltic and rhyolitic flows from the Owyhee-Humboldt volcanic field just under 15 million years ago was one of the early precursors to the current Yellowstone hotspot. Our weekend adventure required a carefully planned car shuttle and involved 16 miles of Packraft floating on this pristine and remote high desert river. Packrafts are light, backpackable watercraft, often weighing under 10 pounds, opening opportunities otherwise inaccessible to larger boats. On our backs, everything we need to paddle and sustain our weekend's expedition.
Hey, Betty, come on.
The river flows at around 500 cubic feet a second and represents high spring runoff. This is a great time to float as the tricky boulder gardens present during lower flows are sufficiently covered for us to comfortably drift above. The willows encroach well beyond the banks and form accelerated chutes and tunnels as we start our first 12 miles down the river. Early morning light paints warm hues on the rhyolite cliffs and their weathered, fractured slabs of cascading talus. The Shoshone and Bannock tribes inhabited this area, but all that remains of any hint of humans are the occasional dilapidated rock walls of ranch cabins. It's an easy float of Class 1 and 2, affording plenty of time to rest back and marvel at this 1,000-foot chasm in the middle of nowhere. The Owyhee River is 280 miles long, originating in northeast Nevada and generally flowing northwest through Idaho and Oregon. It is dammed in Oregon, creating the Owyhee Reservoir before flowing into the Snake. Spending time on the river provides ample opportunities to reflect, spot wildlife, and soak in the rejuvenating effects of being immersed in nature. Staring in awe at the sheer rock walls, one can imagine how consecutive voluminous volcanic flows plugged and changed the course of this river multiple times. Like ribbons of life in the desert, they offer corridors of habitat, food, and shelter for many creatures. We spotted a herd of California longhorn sheep expertly negotiating the upper reaches of the cliffs. Complementing our neon-colored packrafts, vibrant green crustose lichen adorn the magnificent and towering walls. After 12 miles on the river, we pull out, a little up a tributary creek to make camp. A warm evening meal is always a welcome component to the camping experience, but somehow accentuated in such environments. The sandy benches at the confluence attest to the magnitude of historic floods, but provide us comfortable campsites as we settle down for a relaxing evening, surrounded by panoramic splendor. We awake to a bluebird morning as we pack up and prepare for our remaining 4 miles along the river. It never ceases to amaze me just how much you can fit into a well-planned weekend, and the complete escape which can be granted by an adventurous activity in a pristine wilderness. A downhill pack to the put-in, a downriver float to the takeout, and all that remains was a cross-country, route-finding adventure up and out of the canyon. It's still spring here in the Owyhee Desert, and our climb was adorned with wildflowers. And as if the canyon never existed, we return to the sagebrush-encrusted mesa tops towards our awaiting vehicle.
Double bacon cheeseburger.